reality shows. Imagine there was a reality show about Jews. And not just about Jews, but Jews on Erev Shabbos. 60 minutes before Shabbos. One person's running into the shower, the other person hasn't finished making the chicken for Shabbos yet. All the crazy upheaval that, frankly, many of us probably have in our own lives. No matter how much you prepare for Shabbos, something is always going to be forgotten. Something inevitably is just going to go wrong. And this wasn't the case just for people a few years ago, people 100 years ago, 200 years ago. This has been the case probably since the inception of Shabbos itself. And if we go back a good amount of years to the times of the Talmud, this was a challenge in the family of Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa, found in the Gemara Maseches Tainus on Chaf Hey Amud Aleph. And I have to credit my grandfather for teaching me this story many years ago when I was probably about 7 years old. And I still remember it. And I still come back to it every time that I learn Maseches Tainus. Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa, the story goes as follows. One time he noticed that his daughter, she was despondent. There was something wrong, something amiss. So he says to her, he asks her as follows. Amar la biti, my daughter, lemaya tzivas, why do you look like you're in despair? Why do you look despondent? What ails you? Amar Leiji says, Oi, kli shel chometz nitzcha lifli bekli shel shemen. I flipped it. I mixed up the canister of oil with the canister of vinegar. And you know what happened? And I lit the lights for Shabbos. They didn't have electricity back then. They had to light lights for Shabbos, not just for the mitzvah of lighting for Shabbos, but that's what they were going to rely on so that they could see Shabbos night. And I switched up the oil with the vinegar. And you don't need to be a chemist or need to be a scientist to know that oil stays lit by fire. Vinegar doesn't really work out so well. Haven't tried it myself, but I'm told it doesn't work. So she says, I really messed up this Erev Shabbos. I don't know what I did. We're not going to have any light for Shabbos. And so she's in pain. She's in anguish that she really let down the family. But Rechanina ben Dosa responds, Amar la biti, my ichbas lach, what's the difference? Mi shamar l'shemen ve'yidlok, he, God, who declared that oil should be flammable and should thereby give light, hu yomar l'chometz ve'yidlok. He also, just as easily, can declare that chometz, that vinegar, should be able to provide light as well. And it wasn't just a pep talk. Tana hayadolek v'ahole kol hayom kulo asher v'yu mimenu or lahavdala. And so it was that vinegar stayed lit the entire Shabbos until that same flame was able to even be used again, and they were able to light the candle for Havdalah at the end of Shabbos itself. Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa, he wasn't just providing a miracle. He was teaching a miracle. The lesson behind this vinegar staying lit the entire Shabbos is not so much a lesson in a miracle, because most of us, frankly, can't do that. The message is that even the oil that stays lit every Shabbos for every ordinary person, the same way lighting that vinegar was a miracle, the fact that nature is built in a way that oil could provide light as well, that is a chiddush, that is a nes, that is a miracle. And we have to appreciate when the oil works the same way vinegar works, because the God who declared for oil to work declared vinegar works. And when he made the nes, the miracle that vinegar could work, it should make us pause and reflect that so too, God is providing a constant miracle by making nature, by making the oil work to provide for us light. And with this in mind, Rav Tendler, my Rebbe, he said, this answers a question about Chanukah. You see, we celebrate the nes, we celebrate the miracle that one canister of oil was able to provide enough light for 8 entire whole nights and days. But the question that everyone asks is, wait, we should only be celebrating 7 days of Chanukah, not 8 days of Chanukah, because the first day is not a miracle. The first day is natural. Of course that pach shemen, of course that canister of oil would have lasted for the first day. The other 7 days, that's a miracle. It's a miracle it lasted a supernatural long amount of time for 7+ days. But the first day is not a miracle at all, everyone asks. But when we think about the story of Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa, and we think about how it's not just a miracle when God makes vinegar flammable, and it's not just a miracle when God provides light for 7 extra days, but even that first day that God provided light in the temple, the fact that oil itself even functions, that is a reason for celebration. That is a constant miracle that God builds into nature. We witness every single day the miracle of creation, the miracle that God provides for us. And it's not just the miracle that we see when we light candles every Shabbos. It's not just the miracle that we see when we light candles for Chanukah, but it's a miracle that we can appreciate. And when we look out our window, we look at the world around us, how our bodies and how nature functions properly each and every day, it should give us pause to say, wow, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God, the way He runs this world is a miracle. And that is more than reason enough to praise God.